Welcome back to Modular World. My name is John O'Wells. Happy summer. I haven't seen you guys since June 11, and here we are in late August. I hadn't planned on taking time away from the show, but honestly, man, this summer got away from us. Us meaning me and my family. We had visiting family, and we had a bathroom model. I had some health stuff, and it's been a lot. So all this to say that I know that you all know that this show is a happy place for me, and I'm just happy to be with you here today. Let's talk about the two performers on the show, and I have a special surprise that I just can't wait to share with you guys. So on the show, first we have Paul Williams from the UK, who performs as Probbie. I'm sure you all have heard of him. As well as, I think, every Patch Challenge show. Paul played on the third Modular World, which was June 13, 2020. This is definitely worth a trip down memory lane for many reasons. Maybe I'll remember to link to it below. I doubt it. The totally ridiculous lineup. I have to say that probably by about the third show, I knew that we had something here, and Paul was definitely part of those first breaths of the show. Also on the show, I have Sean Wilson from the US, who performs as S.R. Wilson. You might remember Sean from the Pulsar Spotlight show recently. He's deep into the Soma scene. He created a Discord to talk about all the Soma instruments. The guy is plugged in, or like clipped in. Okay. Okay, before we start, I gotta do this announcement. I want to announce the next show in the Patch On series here on Modular World. And for those who don't know, Patch On is a patch challenge show where I give a genre or a tech challenge to the community, and then I build a show around it. So there's been a techno show. We did a tech challenge where it was a field recording show. I did modular punk rock. So there's been a few. I've been sitting on this one for a while. I've been working out how I could actually pull it off. So here it is. Drum roll, maybe I'll patch that in. Patch On Reverb. Okay, so it's a tech challenge. It's just a tribute to Reverb, and I know that I have some serious, or I have friends who are some serious fans of Reverb. I know there's a lot of you out there, and I can already imagine some of the things that we're going to see on this show. So it's like, wait, I can do whatever I want in genre, just do me and call it reverby and be on the show? Yep. So that easy. We're just having fun, and we're using reverb to its, all right, off script. So usual, 30 performers from all over the world. And I would just say watch on social media and Discord, which is linked below, for the announcement for the signups. It'll be in the next weeks. The sets are short, 5 to 7 minutes. It's the only way that I can do it with this many performers on the show and not have like a, 10-hour show. And look, we can all make a 5 to 7 minute jam. I know we can. All right, let's get on with the show. Here we go. So first up, I have S.R. Wilson from the US, and we'll have a little chat afterwards. As I mentioned earlier, after I stumbled into Soma land, I found S.R. and his YouTube channel, his Discord, and the rich community he's built. And he's a key reason I did the Pulsar show. We've spoken a few times over a couple months, and I'm really glad to have him here in longer form. Here I sit with Sean Wilson, performs as S.R. Wilson. My friend, you're just a welcome face.
I appreciate you. Thank you. Good to see you.
Well, I appreciate you. You and I, we started rapping about the Pulsar.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir. You contacted me, and we had a Zoom call, and it was really cool. And we chatted for a while on that first Zoom call, and time flew by, and it just felt, it was really nice. And just to have somebody else that, I think I was getting really pent up with the pandemic and everything, and I just had a Pulsar. I just needed to talk about it. So that's why I started making those videos. And I really I appreciate you calling me out on it and chatting with me about it. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Man, so for those of you who don't know, I'll for sure link this below. If you watched the Pulsar show, you obviously know who this guy is. But I'll just explain just a little deeper. So I'm on Instagram trolling Pulsar and obsessed with my Pulsar. And SR Wilson constantly posting this great stuff. I get pulled into his YouTube channel, and he's doing these walk and talk walk and talk videos on his channel about just playing with the Pulsar, learning stuff, doing stuff, right? We start messaging. Other people commenting on his videos talking about a Discord community. Oh shit. And I joined the Discord, and people talking about the Lyra, the Ornament, the Pulsar, Total Soma Discord run by this guy. So, you in my mind, and I'm sure you'll scoff at this, you're sort of like the center of the Pulsar community in my mind.
I appreciate you saying that. That's really kind, man.
I mean, there's a lot of people on your Discord who carry too, and you can name all them. But honestly, man, you started it, and I think there's a big community around your stuff. So anybody who's interested in Soma gear, SR Wilson has a Discord that's amazing. YouTube channel's great. All this will be linked below. So
yeah, very cool people over there, like Guire McGuire, Dopamine. Keith Duncan's doing some cool stuff. Like, there's really cool people that I met through that, and it's been a lot of fun. I haven't posted a video in a minute, but I kind of have been still. I mean, very, very Pulsar heavy. Everything I'm doing right now is about the Pulsar and figuring out how to make that thing. I'm looking at it right now. Sorry,
I know we look at it with love in our eyes. I'm like, there's my Pulsar.
My Pulsar.
Hey you. What's it asking? Hey you over there. Okay, sorry.
But yeah, it was something that I fell in love with as soon as I saw it, the videos that Vlad had posted. So I was just listening to these podcasts and all of the Pulsar videos that Vlad made over and over. I added some views to those videos and just started planning what I wanted to do with this machine. And then once I got it, I started to make the videos that more videos that I liked listening to and I wanted to see, just that exploration, that boundless exploration. So it was been a lot of fun, and it's always a learning experience. Everything, I don't know, it's my first foray into modular, so I really appreciate being able to speak on Modular World with the Pulsar.
Well, I mean, it's a modular system. I mean, anybody can look at it and see the modules on it. It's been, it's whatever. Other conversation.
And it's kind of like, for me being a first timer, it's kind of dummy proof because everything's an input or an output. Like, you can't really mess it up. You can just find cool, righteous sounds that like you wouldn't even think of. So.
But see, the cool thing is that Vlad Kramer, the creator of this wonderful machine, refers to all the parts as modules, and you can see that he's outlined them as these are the VCAs, these are the LFOs, these are the switches, these, all the things that, modular people of any modular format are used to, semi-modular, whatever. Right. And I gotta say, like, I love that you and Tim Shimura and others have gotten into this with no like modular background, but now are crossing over into this community, and I think that ours are going the other way, and this is a perfect example of what we do on this show. But Tim's obviously taking the leap, and he's going full.
It's huge,
full hybrid.
If you just take your time and listen, that's what it forces me to do too, is listen. And I think that's what this whole thing is, like, just to be able to slow down and listen. And the Pulsar was my gateway to slow down and listen, and it made sense to me too, because I mean, it's just flowing energy from one thing to the next, and since I can't blow anything up, everything's an input, everything's an output. It allows me to visualize like the energy currents, and I learned what a VCA was, and I learned what all these different just from listening and to plug and play. It was so cool.
So what was your musical life before the Pulsar?
Mostly I did like musical theater and acting and all this stuff, and I played guitar on the side, and guitar got me into guitar pedals, and looping was the DL4, Line 6 DL4 was my like gateway to the pedals, and so I was doing looping and all that stuff, and just getting more into funky sounds. Want to be the one man band, and then the pedals weren't enough, so then I went on and I got a Novation circuit just to add some like synthy sounds in the
Right, right.
background,
Now
and
he's getting
like
synthy. Oh shit.
yep, yep. And they had this like
Right,
crazy the program editor for the circuit was over my head. I just didn't understand how to edit each sound. So then I had to kind of figure out how to do that and like what all these different the mod matrix, like when routing an LFO to what does that even do? And
right,
so then that got
right.
me into that. And then I got a monologue, chord monologue, and then an octatrack, and then I
Oh
saw the Pulsar.
shit.
That was a big jump, dude. I was crazy to go from the monologue and the
Yeah,
circuit
man.
to an octatrack. It's like, what the hell was I even thinking?
But you got
But
it. Like you clicked with it. You're still using it. It's your main
yeah,
hub, right?
I I mean it's 8 loopers, so I kind of think of it as just a lot of looping and live slicing. Nothing can slice like that in like a standalone hardware to be able to record in real time and slice and then reorder things like that. It's hard for me to find. That's why when I get into the Eurorack stuff, it's gonna be like I don't know. There's gonna be Morphogene and probably like I don't know,
Oh
different
yeah.
samplers that are gonna
Oh yeah.
kick my ass. But it's gonna be awesome.
That is
But
gonna be really interesting to watch that journey because you're like
it,
you're right on the edge.
I'm loving it. I am so ready. Like if it was in front of me, I'd be making yeah. I got patch ideas already. I just don't
Oh
have the
shit.
stuff.
Tell me about history with the guitar and then how you've
Oh
used
yeah.
it in the set for today.
Oh yeah. So with guitar, I've been playing. I got an acoustic when I was 16 and played. I did a couple of things, which was kind of cool for a couple plays in Chicago, which was really fun. I did like a loop set that I played underneath some actors when they were doing stuff, and that's what I've just been in love with playing loops on guitars and looping my voice, and then just building these big cacophonous uh, background sounds. And with the set that I did today, it is kind of more sliced and diced, and so I'm playing guitar, and then one pattern it records and loops that, and then I go to another pattern and it's slicing this up and reorganizing things and pitching it up and down to create new melodies or melodies that I kind of stumbled upon just
Mm-hmm,
messing
mm-hmm.
with the settings. And I did kind of pre-program those, so those were things that I thought they sounded cool, so when I go to this pattern it's going to play it backwards an octave up, or it's going to slice it up and play these slices throughout. And later, near the end of the video, I'm going to just give it away that I kind of messed up. I didn't realize, I thought this recording buffer was already pre-sliced at 16 slices, but it wasn't, and that's what took me a while to get to that. So you see me kind of messing around on the octatrack, and that was just me troubleshooting and
Oh
finding out that
shit.
I just yeah, I need to slice
Mm-hmm,
that up a little bit, and then I sliced it up, and then we break out into this like solo stuff. So
mm-hmm,
everything that except for a couple samples on the octatrack, everything was just guitar generated, which was
mm-hmm,
kind of cool
mm-hmm,
to
mm-hmm.
create such crazy fun sounds with just guitar,
Mm-hmm.
just a guitar and the sampling.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah,
So, what's the future? What's gonna happen? Are we releasing?
um,
Or, like you had mentioned, you wanted
I'm
to play out.
I'm so bad at this. But yeah, I would like to play out. This is the New Orleans Synth Cult is a group that I have played with a few times. I don't know if that's coming through.
Awesome! What a great
Um,
shirt.
yeah, they did
Yeah.
Synth Fest a couple months ago. Put it
Mm-hmm.
together very quickly, and so they're gonna keep doing that annually, and then we perform once a month at a couple places around town.
Oh, it's awesome.
So I hope to just, I really want to play out quite a bit. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to release a live performance that I recorded. Thanks to you, you motivated me. You're like, bring something to record this live performance. So I have the video of that too. I'm going to drop that. And
Fantastic.
I need to get some recordings out. I'm so bad at doing that, but I just appreciate that I can play when I can. And I
But
really
look,
appreciate you letting me play. And
oh come on. I mean,
it's really cool.
I'd like to push it back on you though, because you record really easily and really
Mhm.
quickly, and you've done a lot of that and proven that on your YouTube channel, right? And
Yeah.
I've released stuff just one take into a 2-track Zoom recorder. A
Okay.
lot of my stuff has been released like that. No multi-tracks,
That's how
no,
I do it. Yeah.
right, right. So we know you can do it. We've seen you do it on your videos. So it's just like, give us some
Just do
stuff,
it.
man. Give us some
Okay.
good stuff.
Oh man.
You know,
Okay.
you got
Yes.
this.
Yes.
You got this.
I I
You
did
know,
do a little collaboration with a group here in town. They're going to be dropping that. I don't know if I'll wait to say anything about that, but I'll
all right.
there may be a collab dropping in a couple weeks here.
What?
What?
It's dropping collabs. We're talking
Oh
like the
shoot.
kids. Oh, it's
Yeah,
gonna be
no,
epic.
it's gonna
Oh.
be epic, dude. No, I just don't have I'm really bad at that game. So yes, I will try my best to get more music out. I want to make more walk and talk videos too. I have some ideas with
Good.
the effects section and just I miss chatting with people too. It's been so nice just doing that. And I moved to New Orleans recently, so that kind of threw off my my scheduling and whatnot. So I need to get back in the groove of that. I'm back.
Well,
I'm
I
back. I'm
mean,
feeling good. So
once you get the ornament, it's gonna go all shitbox again. Like you're gonna be all
yeah,
posting every day and learning
boundless.
ornament stuff, and it's gonna be
Yeah.
awesome.
That's true. Hey, I have not done with the Pulsar, but yeah, the the ornament will open up the Pulsar quite a bit.
Well,
Yes,
yeah. I mean, and
it's gonna be great.
also when you get into modular, I couldn't, and this is just, this is on me because I didn't, like, I came in with modular, so
Hmm.
I didn't come in like with a clean slate of like, what's this Pulsar thing. So I haven't challenged the Pulsar in standalone mode like I should have yet. Most of the sequencing and madness and the real twisted CV stuff I've done to it has come from eurorack.
Okay.
So I
Yeah,
can't wait to see what you do when you go that direction too, because you
I have some
understand routing
ideas.
a lot better than I do, and I can't wait to see what you do.
I, you're so kind, John. I really appreciate you saying all these nice
Well,
things.
it's
Thank you.
straight, dude.
I
It's straight. You and Tim
that's real cool.
have,
Yeah.
you approach this stuff in a way that I I say we, meaning Eurorack people or modular people, just didn't. It was a clean slate. It was a
Hmm.
face value understanding of synthesis in a way that I envy so much that I wish I
Okay.
could have approached the Pulsar like that. But I'm coming in with
That's
my
cool.
own ideas and issues and fears and
Hmm.
or just this is how it should be done.
Right. Right.
And
Yeah.
both of you came in fresh, like, well, you know
Oh, that's true. I
and
definitely
look what
there's
you've
some
made
things.
out of this. I mean, my God,
Yeah.
man.
It's
So,
been really, really fun. But I definitely have had things where like I go back and I look at some old videos. I'm like, oh, I don't know if that
yep,
didn't make any sense. I don't that didn't
me
make any
too.
sense to route it that way.
Me
But
too.
it is cool to learn. I mean, through doing and through
Mm-hmm.
like getting it wrong and then
Mm-hmm.
trying again.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, cool. Thanks. I just need to get myself a damn Ornament 8. That's
But you
because
also
it's so
don't,
cool.
right? Right? Like you also don't, right?
That's true. That's
And
true. I'm not
anybody
trying to,
listening
yeah, I'm
is
not
like,
trying,
I
yeah.
can't release the album till I get the next piece of gear.
Don't do
And
that.
I know
Just
you're not saying
release
that.
it. No, exactly.
Right, right.
Because I have not bought anything since, I mean, I'm not out there buying stuff all the time. It's
Well,
not, I
wouldn't it
don't
be
need to.
fun?
I'm still making things. I've been making a lot of stuff, playing out with what I've had for the past year and a half. So
Hell yeah.
no worries there. No
Hell
worries
yeah.
there. Yeah,
I was just
definitely.
talking with two of my regular gamer hangout buds and talking about, always gassing and, trying to not gas. And I'm
Hmm.
actually at a place right now where I'm just cutting it off. Not
Yeah, dude.
forever. Obviously, everybody can have a laugh, but man, I got to take a break, dude.
Just living it, living it.
I
Just,
just got
yeah,
to
just
make some music
do it.
here.
Yeah.
So,
And new things pop up all the time. Like I still like get an idea. I'm like, what if I try that? And I'm
mm-hmm,
just
mm-hmm,
using the same things. It's just rearranging, trying different
mm-hmm,
stuff. I've been doing more of what Shimuro has been doing with like leaving patches up, and they had a whole
mm-hmm,
post about how they like to leave patches. I hope this was their post, but they had a post about leaving patches for a long time,
mm-hmm,
and I just really appreciate that.
mm-hmm,
I think having a patch that you come back to and keep working
mm-hmm.
on for a day or two is kind of really interesting because you can find the bounds of that. And then I love taking the patch off and then trying to rebuild it as many times as possible though. Like that's one of my favorite things to do,
Totally.
just see
Yeah.
if I can do it by memory.
Oh
The
yeah.
last show that I played with the Synth Cult guys was a couple weeks ago, and I patched it all up just sitting at a table without it being plugged in, and then I plugged it in just to see how close I was, and most everything was patched up nice.
See,
And it's
that
just
is like
a game.
mastery. That is like mastery right there.
It's kind of fun. It's just a fun game to
That's
keep my
awesome.
mind fresh and
Mm-hmm.
just yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
So picture
anyway,
us like we're sitting next to each other in like an old folks' home, and
yeah.
we've got, you know, it's like we're the freshest minds on the whole floor because we're still sitting there playing with our shit, and like
It's a game that keeps you fresh.
it's a
Yeah,
chess
I
game.
honestly,
Yeah.
it is a chess game. You're right. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
It really is a chess game, and like
Mm-hmm.
a small move can make
Yeah.
monumental
Yeah.
changes down the line, big ripples.
Mm-hmm. Sean, thanks so much for coming on the show, making this great video, talking to us, and I just can't wait for people to see this performance right now.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me, Jono. It's awesome.
All right, my friends, this is SR Wilson. Such a great guy doing such great stuff, man. I'm just happy to have you on the show. All right, if you've joined late, I'm John O'Wells. You're watching Modular World. I want to give a quick shout out to new channel supporters. Thanks so much for choosing to support this show, and to the dedicated many who still support this show. Thank you. For new viewers, Modular World is a fiercely independent channel and is member supported. So if you like what you see here, please consider supporting on Patreon or right here on YouTube. All the links are below. Okay, let's keep moving. Next up is Probbie from the UK. Paul was one of the first people I was following when I got into modular synths, and I found the community on Instagram, quite surprising. The sheer musicality of his work and the knowledge of synthesis was so evident. Watching his stuff, I highly recommend following his social. I was an instant fan. Also, just side note, he's from an area in the UK where I spent a fair amount of time as a child, so we have this connection as well. It's such a great story and work and music. I love this guy. Here I sit with Paul Williams, who we all know as Probbie.
John,
great to see you, man.
You.
Yeah,
Thank
just
you.
So great. And look, I mean, you and I have been friends for a couple years, but you were
More than that, I would say.
Well,
I really don't know how long.
well, you
At least
were
3 years.
yeah, but you were on one of the first Modular World shows. It might have been the second or third episode.
Yeah, I think it was.
Let's say
I think
second.
it was second.
Unbelievable. And you've been on a bunch of the Patch Challenge shows and the anniversary shows.
Yeah.
Oh, you're such a friend. And I'll just remind you and tell our viewers that you were one of the first people who I watched on Instagram, followed, was really inspired by still, and just was like, man, I got to do this. You were one of those people.
Wow.
So I'll always be grateful.
You're welcome.
So you are in the UK.
Yes, indeed, yeah.
And it's 8 p.m. there. Thank you for doing this so late, man.
Yeah, I'm not going to bed yet, but yeah.
It looks like a bunch of light coming in that window.
Yeah, all the light comes. This is south facing, so we get all the light in here.
At 8
p.m. I've got the blinds shut, and it's still sunny.
I mean, that's late for... Okay. Anyway, so welcome to the show. Tell us where you are. Although I do want to hear some of your story. I love it, and I want our new viewers to hear it about some of your experience to, like what got you here.
My mother was very musical. And I think that's, although I wasn't really interested in making music in my mum's days, I just, towards the end of her days, I was really getting into the synth. I guess a lot of my inspiration comes from the musicality of my mother. She was a soprano singer as a teenager. She could play the organ, the piano. She used to teach local kids to play the piano, although I wasn't interested in any of that stuff at the time. I was too busy out playing with my friends and stuff,
Plus, if it's something one of your parents does, it's probably lame.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Did she get to hear some of your music?
Yeah, towards the end of her life. She was in a care home by then. And there was a piece that I was quite proud of. And I think it went out on a show. I'm not sure if it was your show. I'm sorry. The care home staff, this was during COVID, actually, I think. And so I couldn't actually visit her at the time. But the care home staff managed to play the YouTube video to my mum.
Unbelievable.
And so at least she witnessed one of my performances anyway.
That is so cool.
In my teens, back in the 70s, I discovered the synthesizer. The VCS3 was the first synth I'd ever seen, albeit not in the flesh. I saw it in magazines, and I thought, what on earth is this thing?
Mm-hmm.
And I was already into electronics, and I'd done some electronic music recording, tape splicing and all sorts as a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
And music and electronics together had to be my thing. It really was the thing that energized me and kept me excited.
Let me just interject just really quick. Splicing tapes as a teenager. Not typical teenage behavior. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's great fun.
I mean, what made you do that?
Just fun. I mean, I was at school at the time, and I think my folks had bought me this Grundig tape recorder, just a little sort of 5 3/4 inch reel-to-reel recorder. And a neighbour gave me a broken tape recorder, and I managed to fix it.
I see.
And so I could do long tape loops around the two machines and get long echoes and all sorts of stuff. So I was already into audio effects and sound manipulation and making funny noises and stuff. And then one day I heard about this thing called a synthesizer. And the photo I'd seen was of a VCS3. And I thought, I can make one of these, because I didn't have any money. I was a kid at school still, so I didn't have any money. So I grabbed a few components and got the soldering iron out and made this strange contraption that made some squeaky, bubbly noises. And that's
it was like a kit? It was like a kit or what?
No. I sort of designed it and made it from scratch.
Oh, this was the one you designed. That's right.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was before I really understood anything about synthesizers or much about electronics, frankly. I was probably about 13 at the time.
What?
Yeah, I started in electronics pretty early.
Oh my God.
And but it wasn't until I suppose I was about 17 that I made my first proper synthesizer, and you can see it on my Instagram account. And I was really proud of it. It was wonderful. I had great fun with it and recorded a few things, none of which I'm very proud of, because, as I say, I'm more an engineer than a musician.
Right.
And then I think it was about 1976, I made another synth that was absolutely awesome. I really loved it. But, I was young, we were married, wanted to start a family, had no money, and so I sold it. I think I got about £350 for it, which was quite a lot for a sort of homemade gadget back in those days. I just wish I hadn't lost it.
Imagine that's out there somewhere.
Yeah.
Could you ever
find
it?
Or in bits in a junkyard.
No. I mean, we can't think that. No.
So yeah, there's pictures of both those synths on my Instagram account.
At least you have a photo. I mean, God.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, and then you've had a very interesting career in audio, and now you're retired, making music full time, professional musician.
I'll take that. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Do you want to tell us just a little bit about your work history, because it's really interesting, I think.
Yeah, I started off with the telephone company, post office as it was then. So I had an apprenticeship in engineering with the post office, going around fixing people's phones and stuff. And then I took myself to college and actually learned a bit about how electronics is supposed to be done rather than the way I'd learned it at home. And that was obviously really useful. And I got some qualifications that allowed me to get a job in electronics. And so I suppose by the time I was about 23, I was in the electronics industry, designing electronics professionally. But I didn't manage to get into audio electronics until I started my own business called Tantec, selling, designing and selling kits, so you could make rack mount effects at home. And that ran for about 2 years before basically I ran out of money and got competition from the likes of Yamaha, and it just made my offering look so expensive, even in kit form. And then I got a job with Studio Master, who made mixing desks. I designed a few things for them, and then went to BSS Audio and stayed with them for many, many years, a couple of decades or so. And I was very proud with some of the kit that we designed and made there. And this was really top level audio electronics.
Yeah.
Still no effects, but it was like speaker crossovers and stuff like that, graphic equalizers. And then with 3 other colleagues, I started a business called Linear Research, and we made very high quality, very high power professional amplifiers. So these are 20 kilowatt amplifiers, true 20 kilowatts. And so it was an OEM business. So we used to sell these amplifiers to lots of brands around the world. Lots of sort of household brand names would buy these professional quality amplifiers. These are sort of stadium amplifiers. They're not for sort of small halls or anything. And we continued with that business. It went from strength to strength, and it's still in business now. And I retired from there a couple of years ago.
It's fantastic. See, I think that all of this since early years has given you, and you're going to laugh, but I think it's given you these kind of magic ears. Because when I listen to what you do, it's so musical. And I've heard a lot of your stuff, and there's a lot of diversity in it. But the musicality of what you're doing is unique in our community.
Oh, thank you.
Well, I'm not blowing smoke. So can you tell us?
I still feel very much like an amateur, though, just picking my way through.
I do too. I mean, I can't hear beginners tell me that they're frustrated and they feel like a beginner, because I'm like, man, I am still so lost. I'm having fun kind of stumbling around and figuring it out really, really slowly. I mean, my job has helped me because it's made me have to focus on a brand and only use qubit modules. And that's been a great learning experience to be like, well, you don't have 30 modulation sources, you have R2. But still, I feel like my path has been really slow. Anyway, back to you.
Eurorack. I didn't know anything about Eurorack, and I hadn't really done anything with synthesizers since like the 80s, 1980s, that is. And so I don't know how I got into it, really. I guess, I guess it was really my son that was really the trigger for this. He bought me a book about vintage synthesizers. I think it was just called Vintage Synthesizers. Because he knew that was my passion, and now it wasn't, kind of thing. And he also directed me to this, I think it was a video about Eurorack modular synths. And I'd truly never heard of Eurorack. And I was just hooked as soon as I saw this video. I just had to get into it. So I bought a little 3U skiff, bought a few modules, and I had a little mono synth I bought as well, Micro Freak, I think it was. And very soon outgrew it because I thought, we've got something here, this is something I can really enjoy. So I sold that kit and bought this this lovely tip-top case, and of course kept buying and selling modules and getting further and further into it.
Yeah.
And it's great. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I spend way too much time doing it.
What year would you say like you got into it? Like how many years have you been doing this?
I'm pretty sure it was 2018.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was about a year before. Well, I was 2018, but at the, like in the fall.
Right.
Right. Wow. That's great. One other thing that I want to make sure that people know is that you are pretty prolific with your releases. And I love you for that. And I encourage people to release on BandCamp all the time and not worry about labels and just to release. I love that you release all the time. And for people watching, both performers, all their information below, please make sure you go to Probbie's stuff and check it out. For today's show, tell us about the set which you prepared.
Yeah, well, I think it's going to be called The Longing. I haven't released it anyway yet, so I'm not sure. Today it's called The Longing. I don't know. I really don't know where this stuff comes from usually. I mean, often it will come from the inspiration that the sounds give me. So I do some patching and think, yeah, that's quite an interesting sound. I need something else to go with that. What's a good bass sound I could have with that? And I think that's probably where it came from, just noodling around with sounds and thinking about a chord progression that would suit those sounds and just gradually embellishing it more and more. So it wasn't as though I sort of sat down and wrote a piece of music and then decided to perform it on the synthesizer.
Yeah.
I'm not able to work that way because I'm not a musician. But noodling around with the sequencer and chord progressions and just adjusting all the sounds as much as possible, just to get things sounding to my ears, that they sound good to my ears. Whether they sound good to anyone else is another matter. So yeah, I guess I just embellish it more and more because I always record live, 2 channels straight down into Audacity live. I don't give myself the opportunity to sort of mess around with it afterwards.
Yeah,
or
it becomes
to sort of
messy.
add more and more layers.
Yeah.
It's all got to be done in one hit, done and dusted.
I love doing it like that too. It's like a suicide mix. You've got to get it right in case, and that's it.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't always manage it in one take. It's usually 2 or 3 takes before I get a performance I like. I think actually this performance was the 3rd take. And it's not perfect.
Oh, come on.
It genuinely isn't perfect. Well, at least it wasn't entirely what I intended, put it that way. But these things never are.
No.
And I sort of love that, really.
Right. Me too.
It's got its own life.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not really in charge of it completely.
You're like a participant.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, yeah, to some extent, the synth does what it wants, and I sort of guide it a bit.
Hey, I have a tech question for you. You've been a Hermod guy. I see it in the top left there. I've always been amazed at how people can rock it on the Hermod. But you have a new sequencer, and I'm excited to hear about how that happened and why and what you're doing with it.
Yeah. Well, I had Eloquence. That was my first eurorack sequencer.
Yeah.
And
I remember that. It was down in the bottom left.
Yeah. I loved it. And it was so perfect in so many ways, except for a few things that really let it down. One of which, is MIDI, because whether we like it or not, and I'm sure there's a lot of folks out there that won't use MIDI. That's fine. But I find it so useful, mainly for the polyphony, that really I don't want to do without MIDI. And Eloquence wasn't giving me MIDI. And there was a few technical flaws with it too. Excuse me. So I moved on to Hermod, which seemed to solve most of the problems. It had MIDI, it had enough channels. Okay, it's got a bit of a small display, which isn't great.
It's shameful. It's abhorrent.
Yeah, I know the Mark II is a bit better in that respect. But there's a few other things that have been annoying me with Hermod, and it's not as performable as Eloquent. So that's really the thing I've really got against it.
For sure, yeah.
So yeah, I've invested in Hapax, and I'm going to be making a video shortly.
Jesus.
Comparing Eloquenza, Hermod, and Hapax, which I've got all together in this rig, and it's quite interesting for me, really, to see the contrast between the three sequences and the choices that the designers have had to make. Because it's not an ideal world, and every design has its compromises.
Mm-hmm.
But Hapax has got enough of a user face not to have too many compromises. In fact, I haven't found any yet. So I haven't really used it in anger yet. I haven't done any recording with it yet.
Oh.
But I've actually got something here that I've been working on, and it's a dream. It really is a dream.
Oh, it's so great to hear. I can't imagine how it'll, affect your music and make you think different. That's just awesome.
It's much quicker. I think that's the main thing. That's the main takeaway for me. It's much quicker to get inspiration from it. Oops, I disconnected myself. Sorry about that.
It's all right. I think that I see the rubber buttons and it just gives me anxiety.
No, these buttons are beautiful.
I mean, just,
too many.
Just the amount of them.
No, it's great. Because you can see your whole piece of music on this surface. It's great.
I will definitely watch your video on that because I'm just curious. Yeah. I don't gas for a big external mixer, but I'm still really curious about that. Just for knowing it. That's so cool, man. What's on the horizon? What are you working on? What's next other than learning that awesome sequencer?
Yeah, so I'm learning Hapax, and doing this comparison video. Also, I think the next thing I'm doing is I'm going to be working with small systems as well.
Nice.
Because the piece that I've done for you, that's probably the last time I'm going to be using a big system like that. I love the constraints that a small system give you.
Me too.
And it just takes me ages to do anything when I've got too much choice.
Mm-hmm.
So working with something like this, I can pull something together really quickly before I get bored with it. That's part of the problem, I think. If you work on something for too long, you lose the inspiration and the incentive.
Mm-hmm.
So with something like this,
mm-hmm.
I can concentrate on it for a few hours and get something
definitely
I love or hate, in which case I record it or throw it away.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'm going to be using them. So I've got two of these, one in black and one in silver. And I'll be playing a lot with these, I think, in the future.
Oh, I love you, man. I'm so glad to have you on. You and I could talk forever.
It's been a pleasure, John. Always a pleasure.
All right. Here he goes, Paul Williams as Probbie. Thanks, man.
Thanks, John. Enjoy the rest of your show. Cheers, guys.
My friends, that's our show. I want to especially thank Paul and Sean for coming on the show, sharing their artistry, and thank you for being here. If you missed the beginning of the show, that's where I announced the next Patch On show in our Patch Challenge series. You're going to have to go back to the beginning of the show and check it out. It's all there. These shows have 30 performers, and they usually fill up in about 2 hours. So watch social, watch Discord, and we'll see you next time on Modular World.